Hello there. Good to see you again. You're here. I'm here. We can get started. I have four children. Um, Ross is the oldest. He's down in Manchester working away. And Josh is the next. He's number two. Rebecca's number three. And Hannah's number four. And something happened just a wee while ago with Hannah. I should have been ready for it because of previous experiences, but I wasn't. And I just thought I would share it. Ross was a voracious reader, and when he was in, I think it must have been first year, I knew the head teacher well enough. This was when we were in Anstruther, and the head teacher at that point in Wade Academy was a guy called Ian Duncan. And I had concerns about Joshua because he could read, he just didn't. And as a consequence, I was getting worried. And he gave me what clearly was good advice. And you could tell at the time it was good advice because it was really frustrating. He just said, forget about it. It wasn't quite like, Italian mafia. Forget about it. It was just, this will happen when it's going to happen. Meantime, just forget about it. So I did my level best. Joshua got to fourth year. First, second, and third year, and probably most of fourth year, he was a STEM student. He liked maths, he liked physics, he liked chemistry. That looked like the way he was going. And then the English department did To Kill a Mockingbird, and everything changed. And when I say changed, I mean War and Peace changed, as in he started reading novels that were just like, really? Because you were just reading, nothing before. Rebecca, she probably doesn't read as much as Ross, but she reads a lot. And Hannah is just gregarious and fun and full of laughter and social media and other girls and sport, netball. But again, she could read. She just didn't read. I would push a book in her direction. She would read the first few pages, maybe a chapter, and then it would kind of get kicked under the bed or something. About a fortnight ago, I don't think it's much longer than that, she said she was going to try and start doing something productive with her time off from school. So she started reading the first Harry Potter novel, which is fairly short, but, I thought that's pretty good for any, as a book. So it was done in about a day and a half, which is really, it was just really weird. What was even stranger was the second book. There's 7 of them in the Harry Potter series. The second book was done in just over 2 days. And the third one in probably just about the same amount of time. In between each one, after each novel, she then watched the film. And she's now halfway through the fourth one. If you're not sure, the fourth one is like Edgeworth throwing at somebody. If you want to throw the book at somebody, the fourth one is a big one. And as a consequence, it just seemed, there's a passage in Ecclesiastes which, just to keep it cheery, my mother has said, definitely read that one at my funeral. Hopefully not for a while. It's the famous one. To everything there is a season and a time under heaven. And then it goes through these kind of couplets: a time to live and a time to die, a time to tear up and a time to sow, a time to gather stones together and a time to scatter stones. It's Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And my mother's got it hanging on a wall in this picture frame. Its assertion is that we have all these kinds of plans, a bit like when, in the book of James, he talks about, people come in, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, but everything's in God's timing anyway, so kind of keep it humble and don't be too arrogant, because ultimately everything is God's hands, everything is God's timing. When Hannah was ready to start reading, it was a case of trying to hold it back, because nothing would. I recognise there will be people who you may have prayed for all your life. You may very well be somebody who prays for them still, but has just got to that stage where you think nothing is going to change. Who are the people that you need to be praying just now would be impacted by the lockdown in a way that takes them to God? Who are those folks in your life? Who are the people in other circumstances, in previous years you've given? You might still be praying for them, but there's just nothing changes. You don't know when things just suddenly change. It's really, really crucial that you don't give up praying for people, because this lockdown in itself could be affecting people substantially in the way that they view things and the way they change in their view of things. I don't know who that would be in your life. I know who it is for me. And what I recognise is, when you have this thought in your head, nothing's going to change. These folks are long since gone and have no involvement in the church. Then just recognise the reality. When you least expect, things will change. Why? Because it really is all in God's timing. God's timing, not yours, which is usually the frustration that I spoke about earlier. You know that God should be getting a move on and doing what he needs to get done a whole lot sooner. In reality, everything is set. God knows and times things, all things under the sun. And for that purpose, you need to have faith, and you certainly need to have patience. Who is it you need to be praying for specifically just now? People you've given up on, but people who may very well be finding this time, the difficult, tough, challenging time, the time when they most naturally turn to God. Who is it? Who do you need to text, to phone, just to talk to them, to find out how they've been coping with this season? Go with God, because I know God goes with you. Bye.